Welcome to The Real Story with Jeanne Ives. I'm recording this for my podcast, but I am also recording this live. So thank you for following me on Instagram and on Facebook. I really appreciate it. Again, you can connect with my, you can find my podcasts on our website, breakthrough-ideas.com. You connect with me also on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. You can find it there. But I want to go live because I'm really bothered by taxpayer fraud. I actually got into politics because I cared about the taxpayers' bottom line. That's why I started out on Wheaton City Council. Very, very quickly, after just one negotiation with the unions, I figured out that if you want to protect taxpayers, you have to go to Springfield. So I ran for state representative. And in every case, every time I've ran, I've really tried to focus on what's happening with taxpayers, because the idea that the government takes in your money by force, by the way, because if you don't pay your taxes, guess what? They'll take your property or throw you in jail. Then we need to be responsible with that tax money. They should be responsible. They're not. When it comes to taxpayer money, I got to tell you, it's one scam after another. And now, nobody doubted that there was going to be fraud when the government doled out in just 2 years $4.5 trillion of COVID relief money. I mean, you'd have to be an idiot not to suspect that some fraud was going to occur. But now, we're well past, 3 weeks to flatten the curve. Everybody stay home. We're well past all that. We've been at this COVID crap for over 2 years. And the fraud continues. They're taking your money and using it for reasons and purposes that is not the reason that they purported to vote for trillions of dollars in COVID relief money for. Let's just face it. I mean, there were plenty of us who got none or very little COVID relief money. We were told we were essential workers. We were told that we're going to take a pay cut. Our kids were pushed into remote learning. We never collected unemployment benefits. We never got tested for COVID. We never had a problem with it. And now we are literally bailing people out when we got punished by COVID and the lockdowns. So here's the deal. This is the story that caught my eye, and this is really why I wanted to talk about this on my podcast and actually come live with you. So here's the story. It's from the Chicago Tribune. Cook County hopes to eliminate $1 billion in residents' medical debt. Here's how they're doing it. Well, you guess what? Debtors will not need to apply to get the relief, nor will the debt forgiveness count against them when they file their taxes. Picking up the tab, Cook County government will pay a nonprofit group over the next 3 years to buy medical debt accumulated at hospitals across Cook County for pennies on the dollar. Pennies on the dollar. They plan to abolish $1 billion in medical debts that could date back over 7 years. 7 years. That is way past the time frame of COVID. But yet you're going to be bailing them out. And here's what's going on. Toni Preckwinkle is using COVID relief funds to wipe out the medical debts. The program is now considered innovative, and in fact, she's due to receive an award from the White House for her creative use of your tax dollars. That's what she's doing. She's going to buy up medical debt that has nothing to do with COVID, and yet that money is all coming from the American Relief Program. That's where it's coming from. It's COVID money. She's buying out debt. It's nonsense. But of course, COVID funding and COVID relief money has been a scam from the get-go. One of the biggest problems that we've had is with the unemployment fund. So I'm just going down here a few of the lists of the scams that have happened. The first one, of course, is you're bailing out medical debt with COVID relief money. That's wrong. The other one is an actual fraud. The actual fraud is for nearly $400 billion in unemployment funds are thought to have been given out fraudulently. A Forbes article laid this all out. It says that during the chaotic days of the pandemic, it's alleged that an international ring of nefarious fraudsters stole over $400 billion from the United States government. This staggering amount is about 50% of the unemployment monies paid out. Yep, that's right. The smart people figured out very quickly that a lot of this money was going to the wrong people. In fact, unemployment fraud during the pandemic could easily reach $400 billion, Axios reported. The money likely ended up in the hands of foreign crime syndicates, making it not just theft, but a matter of national security. All right, well, we know that at least Illinois, let me go here. Oh, here we go. Illinois policy. A state audit found that the Illinois Department of Employment Security lost to fraud more than half of the $3.6 billion in federal COVID-19 dollars earmarked for out-of-work Illinoisans. So nearly $2 billion in unemployment benefits went to crooks during the pandemic. Now, that's actual fraud. That's actual fraud. The stuff that Preckwinkle's doing and getting awards for, in my opinion, that's fraud too. It's just that it's celebrated and the media, openly publishes articles about it and nobody seems to care. Well, what else is going on? Guess what else you're paying for? Oh, here you go. There's a $15 million city pilot that's going to help South Shore condo owners fund repairs. Okay. And this money also apparently is going to be helped along with money that was needed to be used for COVID relief. Okay, what else is going on? Here you go. Water shutoffs. Water shutoffs for bill non-payment is now banned from Chicago's residential community. Well, how are they paying that? It's all this American relief money because they are flooded with money, and now Lightfoot can go ahead and just pay off your water bill. What else is happening? Oh, here's one of my favorites. The Housing Committee is going to give some Illinois residents up to $25,000 in one-time grants to pay back bills on their rent. So COVID has been around for a long time, and yet these people should have been back to work a long time ago. Part of this is Pritzker's problem and the Democrat problems for just keeping this COVID open and keeping people shut out of work. But now you, the taxpayer, are going to give people $25,000 grants to pay back rent for up to 18 months. It says the Illinois rental program will provide an additional $297 million in taxpayer dollars to renters and landlords to prevent evictions. Now, this isn't something that happened a year ago. No, this is a story from the Center Square from July 21st of 2022. You are continuing to bail out people, one program after another. What else is happening? Well, the Illinois Tollway is using COVID relief money to eliminate fines for unpaid tolls. So now we have to pay people's fines for their unpaid tolls. What are they using? They're using American relief money again. That's COVID money. And Chicago Public Schools are using relief money on pay and benefits for thousands of teachers and staff that are already on the payroll. This is ridiculous. You're being taken advantage of by your own government. And then people like Preckwinkle are going to go to Washington, D.C. and get awards for their innovative use of your tax money, which is really COVID relief money, but now you're paying off people's medical debt. It can't get crazier in this state. They're just abusing you as the taxpayer. I'll tell you what, the only way to limit this is to change out the politicians that are in charge. That's what you have to do, because I personally think none of this fraud is acceptable, absolutely none of it. And whether it's actual fraud like the unemployment fraud or the fraud that you're using COVID relief money to pay off people's tollway fines, that's fraud too, in my opinion. So thanks for joining me on The Real Story with Jeanne Ives. Pay attention. We've got a lot more policy issues to roll out ahead of the elections. We think you need to make an informed vote in November, and we're going to give you that valuable information. So thanks for listening.